New Year's resolutions feel like a fresh start, but the calendar doesn't change your behavior or your daily defaults. A study by investment firm Fidelity shows the top financial resolutions are still to save more, pay down debt, and spend less. Great goals, but easy to abandon without a plan that runs on autopilot. Joining us with some practical solutions is Larry Sprung, founder of Mitlin Financial and the author of Financial Planning Made Personal. Good to have you with us this morning, Lawrence, and Happy New Year. So many people who set yearly goals don't have faith that they'll keep them even from the outset. So let's talk about crafting the goal itself. What's the first step that you recommend to really making savings goals stick?
Sure, and Happy New Year to you and the team at NTD, Steph. I'm looking forward to a great 2026. The important thing here is build a why that survives a bad day. You know, research shows that people who connect their money to a clear purpose, such as something as simple as naming a savings account after a vacation or a new car, make more consistent and disciplined decisions. Just saying saving more, that creates a situation where it's homework, but a why makes it sounds like real life where you get excited about that new car, that family vacation, and that's one of the main reasons why they tend to stick better.
And do you have any other tips about how to decide on the goal itself and the timeline to make it inspiring while also realistic and achievable?
Yeah, so you want to make sure that these things are things that are important to you. So as we're going through what we want to accomplish in 2026, look at those things that are most important to you. If it is paying down debt, then maybe that should be your biggest goal. Or if you haven't saved enough towards retirement, implement that as a goal. Or if you're simply, hitting on all cylinders and you want to take that bucket list dream vacation, make that your goal. But the important thing is find that why, find what you want to accomplish in the year, and have a game plan to go after it.
Okay, so if we're looking at a year's timeline, there's going to be ups and downs inevitably in a year. How can we set ourselves up to stay on track for the long term?
Yeah, that's a great question. And the easiest thing is automation. The things we automate have a tendency to get done. It turns good intention into real progress and really enabling you to save, invest, or paying down debt without decisions. And when that happens by default, you stop negotiating with yourself. It's not a question of, should I do it this month? Shouldn't I? Automation is how you make these things stick. Just simple things like a direct deposit to a savings account, or auto increasing your retirement, or just rounding up purchases and sending that to your savings account. These little things can lead to big results.
And yet, even despite having automation in place, some people could put a spanner in the works, say if they overspend with one paycheck or something like that, that may just really send them off track. So what do you recommend there?
Listen, we're all human. We're going to mess up. The important thing is decide what you're going to do about it. Because as we know, people join gyms at this time of year, in mid-January, they quit on that. Same thing with their money goals. But, and it always happens when the motivation drops. So perfect is not really achievable. So you have to have a reset plan for those months that you may overspend. Make a decision in advance. What are you going to do if you overspend or slip up? And what that'll allow you to do is make it so that one bad week doesn't turn you into giving up. As James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, he talks about getting 1% better each day. He would say the goal is to be someone who saves money, be known as someone who saves money, and keep score so it feels like progress and not punishment. Keep score on a simple number and make sure that you're making progress in that area.
Right. I think he talked about in one of his books about using paper clips to mark progress with each move that he'd made toward his goal. But sometimes, just keeping track can feel burdensome on top of the goal itself. What do you suggest for that?
Yeah, don't create 10 different goals that you're going after, because that makes it very difficult and a job to keep track of. So, you want to pick one number that matters most to you and check it once a week. No spreadsheets, no guilt, just a short, consistent money check, and it turns your resolutions into momentum instead of another thing you avoid. There are simple platforms out there that will allow you to create bucketing so you can see your progress in real time, meaning you create buckets towards those specific goals and just check in once a week and see if your number's making progress or not and make adjustments along the way. But don't make it overwhelming that you're tracking 5, 10, 15 different things that you're trying to accomplish financially.
And as we're looking ahead, there's still time to cast our glance back and learn from any mistakes that we may have made towards our financial goals last year. Is there anything that kind of comes up more regularly with your clients, people you work with, that you want to share that could be helpful in terms of how to reflect effectively on the year that was?
I think the most important thing is having an understanding of what money is coming into the household each month and where that's going. And now you have a full year. You can take a look at 2025. And again, don't complicate it. Look at your salary and the money that's been direct deposited into your accounts each month. And then look at the money that's gone out either through check writing, Venmo, credit cards. It's pretty easy to acclimate that and accumulate that information. And simply look at money in versus money out, and were you sticking to the budget or not? And then if not, make adjustments. And if you were and there was extra money, figure out what the best use of that extra money is each month.
Let's look a little deeper at this idea of identity crafting. You mentioned James Clear and talking about becoming a person who saves. What other tips do you have for creating that identity for a person who may be just struggling with that, or just setting out on it, or just really wanting to teach their kids or grandkids how to be that kind of person and carry that identity?
Yeah, so you want to turn your money resolution into a repeatable habit with a why, with a system, and a scoreboard, as we talked. One small habit, automated, tracked, and protected with an if-then plan, meaning if I end up overspending, what do I do? That's really how money resolutions stick. And if you take that and you start implementing that to become a person who saves money, your kids will realize and recognize that. And it's also important that you sit down and share this process with them and how you have become a person who saves money. And then ultimately, they will internalize that and work in that direction, hopefully, as well, too.
And Leslie Lawrence, talking about this identity crafting and reaching goals, what do you suggest in terms of marking a win if, say, your goal really is even longer than a year to get to the end and really reinforce the worthwhile nature of the goal?
Celebrate the small wins at all times, right? And even if you have a lofty goal that's, longer than a year, 3, 5, 10 years down the road, chop that up into bite-sized pieces. A goal that you have for 3 years out is not going to be accomplished if you start in 2.5 years. So there have to be milestones that you need to reach in 3, 6 months, and a year on your path to that 3-year goal. So make that metric and make sure, if that's your scorecard, then make sure that you're making that progress. Because if you wait till the 2.5-year mark for that 3-year goal, probably not going to happen.
Well, folks, if you haven't set your financial goals yet for the year, now's the time. You've got some inspiration. Lawrence Sprung, thank you so much for your time this morning, and certainly looking forward to a great 2026 along with you here on NTD.
Thank you.